Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Steve. I just wanted to give kind of a vlog style video or update on some of the stuff I've been learning this last week. My IPv4 video should have gone up already. Um, and I've just been kind of just burying my head in the sand with the Cisco stuff. It's interesting because since I'm just brute forcing it, there's a ton of information that I'm just like, okay, what's a network? I'm very much in the fundamentals, and I understand the basics of a network. I know how to set one up. I know how to break one. But overall, it's just been kind of overwhelming to just like, I guess the terminology is the hardest thing that I'm struggling with. Is like, okay, where's the hierarchy of what step am I at? And I have to like go just quickly. Luckily, Google just you can type anything in Google nowadays, um, and it just gives you an answer, which is fantastic. I wish I had that in high school. Um, so like it just quick. Okay, what's the answer? Okay, that makes sense. Let's pair that up with the data that I'm getting now, and then combine them. That's been very helpful to figure that stuff out. It's kind of embarrassing that I didn't learn that. Didn't learn. All right. So for the Cisco stuff this week, I've been learning. I didn't realize when I started looking at the certifications, I was just focused on the training, getting the training in place, and all that stuff. I didn't realize that they were actually completely just changing things completely in February. I'm kind of in a weird spot where I can either try and cram, where with my work schedule and stuff, I struggle really hard with that to begin with, or just do a moderate amount of studying, get familiar with all the search terms, and wait till February, and then once the changes happen, continue to study and get things more solidified. I might just consider just continue with the Cisco stuff, but also start focusing on maybe the Network Plus, because if that's not Network Plus isn't going to change, I might just do that. Just because I know that there's a ton of stuff here. I think overall, though, I'm just going to stick with the CCNA, um, just because of how much information's there, and I think overall most of where you're going to get paid well is going to be with Cisco, just because Cisco is the leading provider of internet, in any large organization, just because of how easy they make things. Um, but yeah, they have this is just the exam topic stuff, and this is how much information they're requiring of it, and this is just the entry exam essentially. Um, so I've got a lot of studying to do. It's going to be a lot of fun and pain. Um, I was listening to a YouTuber. I'd have to look him up, but he was talking about how APIs are going to be such a huge thing with Cisco going forward. Every single one of their trainings shows that. So having at least a little bit of understanding of programming and like how, well, I guess fundamentals of programming, mostly just so that you can understand their viewpoint and like how they're approaching things, so that kind of gets meshed with the networking side, just because of malware attacks happening so prevalent now. You have to have an API. You really need to just have an API that just takes care of most of it, so you don't have to know everything. So that's kind of what Cisco's doing really well, is they have a giant team of engineers working on everything, um, fixing all those problems that people are seeing, and then patching those automatically. Essentially, your job is just to make sure that you're updating things properly, doing sound networking, um, and then making sure the traffic and flow and stuff, basically detection, is doing really well. I've started like creating a document with a lot of that stuff. Like I'm mostly just from like a ransomware perspective, since that's so common nowadays. Just like how are networks being set up, and why are they being set up in certain ways to prevent that kind of stuff from happening. And I've definitely learned a lot about it, and how it at least the theoretical view. I'd be really interested to get some hands-on experience, but yeah, it's just merging the hands-on experience with the with the actual physical experience. Yeah, it's gonna be good. Recently for instance, I recently had a router. It was a Asus router. Um, Great router. It was a AC2400. Um, Recently had issues where the LAN port for some reason got fried. I have no idea why. I took it apart and none of the capacitors looked completely fried, so I'd probably have to get a multimeter and dig deeper. Um, but I tried rerouting the WAN port to another Ethernet port, and for some reason it just kept on crashing. Um, let's see. So I actually flashed the firmware to DDRT's software, um, and rerouted I tried all 4 of the Ethernet ports to be on the same subnet mask, or no, the VLAN. That's what it is. VLAN is the WAN port. The WAN port was this one right here, to be on the same level, and then disabled the WAN port, or even just left it enabled. And for some reason, every time I did that, it basically killed all my Ethernet ports on my router. Didn't matter if I came and reset everything back to default, like it just killed it for some reason. Then I'd have to go reset the entire firmware again to even get access to the router again via Ethernet. I mean, I could if I got the Wi-Fi set up prior, it worked, but for some weird reason, this router is just not allowing it. I might have to post something to the DDRT's team to see if they can figure it out. But yeah, it's just such a strange problem. I tried changing a lot of the other settings and stuff just to fiddle around with it a little bit, but it just wasn't having it. So I'm assuming perhaps the Asus router is just not seeing them as individual ports necessarily. It's viewing as they're like a grouping of 4, and then it's not allowing the changes to be changed. Like I said, I'm not familiar enough with this stuff. So I'm gonna have to dig into it a little bit more. But for my initial impression, it's just broken. But the WRT software is awesome if you really want to make sure that you're getting things secured and are wanting to have a little bit more functionality. It's great software. I'll probably have to create a video about that sometime. They had things like automatic ad blocking. The wireless part was really cool because you could actually manually pick what frequency you're wanting. So you could go in, look at the heat map of your area and see what all the other frequency ranges are happening in your area, and then you can just pick one that's not being used as much. So you'll minimize the amount of traffic overflow you're getting in interference, which is going to be good. So your bandwidth is being better utilized. That's especially with the 2.5 gigahertz band range. 5 gigahertz usually are fine, especially with the MIMO technology that happens. Usually okay. With the setup I have here, I have this router. I used to have this router plugged into and then I'd have this router on the main floor, and then in the basement we had a 20-port switch down there. I think it was like 20 or 24, that we'd have plugged into this directly. To cover all the different rooms in the house and things like that, and then we'd hardwire as much as we can, just because of the latency, just prevent frequency problems and range problems, things like that. So most of all the TVs and stuff in the house are set up that way. All the desktop computers are set up that way. We have like Roku's in some rooms even, so we'll have those hardwired if they have ports for them, just so that things can get better managed. I'm kind of tempted to just go buy a new router and then install the DDWRT software on there, just so even though I don't have the money for it right now, I'm tempted to go buy another router, just put the DDWRT software onto. If I can, I'm probably going to. I've been trying to see if I can get a access point from Cisco to see if they'll let me have that, and that'd make my day, because then I'd be able to actually try out their software and like actually break stuff, and it's gonna be fun. Figuring things out and like, okay, I accidentally broke it. let's go ahead and fix what I broke, which is totally fine. That's one of the fun things with networking. You're like, you change one thing and you're like, oh crap, I actually broke it. How do I go about fixing this now? Okay, it was actually a setting that I did. Let's just either avoid that setting for now or go research it and figure out why it's causing a conflict, which is why I enjoy doing this so much, because you just find these little things that you break and then you go and fix them. So yeah, I think with the Cisco stuff, I think I might just wait till February, because I'm just cramming as much information in my head right now, especially since I have a potential job offer in a couple months. Actually, it's like a month away. Gosh, man, time flies. I feel like I'm getting about 30% of the information. Well, I understand about 30% of it pretty fluently, and then I'm iffy on about 50 or 60% of it. So if I were to take the quizzes, I'd probably get around 50%, as long as it didn't get into too much detail. But I do have a lot of topics I need to go into. So going forward, I have a couple different ways I'm considering doing this. Is finishing up the TV series I've been on. Because it's very detailed, and then possibly if I need to go through this list and literally just grab each line item and create a blog article about it, and just see how that goes. But yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do, is just one by one go figure it out and then explain it, and that's gonna really help me out a lot. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. Anyways, that was basically my week. It was kind of a busy week for me, and I've been super scattered with multiple different subjects, just trying to get my head wrapped around how Cisco's partnership program works and stuff like that. So I've been trying to get in touch with their sales team to see if they'll just let me have one, and even if it's loaned to me for a couple weeks. I really want to have the opportunity to figure all this stuff out, so I can create some content about it, and then also learn as much as I can while I do have it, which would be great. Yeah, because there's some stuff that I'm just like, how does that even function? Like, I was researching some like Wi-Fi 6, for instance, this week. I need to figure out like what's the range on it, how does it self-integrate into like the 5 gigahertz and 2.5 gigahertz, or if it even does, and you have to worry about all that stuff. I hope it doesn't. I kind of hope with Wi-Fi 6 they're just able to figure out the best frequencies and then automatically adjust, but I need to look into all that stuff. It's man, it's so complicated, because you're like, okay, which rabbit hole do I need to go down to? And there's some stuff where I'm like, okay, let's just take a break from my homework and let's go for a couple hours and go hang out and figure out fun things that are interesting to me that I've been kind of like itching at, and then I'll go back to doing my homework the next day or whatever, depending on what my situation is, but I think it's really healthy to have it like that. So yeah, leave some comments below if you have specific subjects you'd like me to cover for you guys, or let me know if you have any suggestions for my WAN port problem. I couldn't think of anything else besides changing the VLAN port. I looked at the three main ones, like Tomato, and then the original one, I can't remember what it's called. I looked at all the other websites for the open software firmware, and none of them had that particular router in it. So if you have any suggestions for that, I'd be appreciated. But I have a feeling it's not going to go anywhere, unfortunately, unless I can get someone really smart on it, that knows more than I do, which wouldn't take very much, but that's how these things go. But yeah, I'm excited. This is going to be really good. So anyways, you guys have a great day. It's a pleasure talking with you.